What's going on, everyone? I wanted to do a weekly end of week recap on the NASDAQ 100, the prices, what we did this week, what we're looking at next week. Now, keep in mind, it's going to be a long weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend. So, Monday, there's going to be modified, limited trading hours. I don't plan on doing any trading. Okay. Will I show up to the charts? Sure. I might even live stream for an hour just to kind of go over some price action or see some levels for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt. Anything can happen over the weekend. Who knows? If we're gonna gap up 500 points, we're gonna gap down 1,000 points. I have no idea. But some of these levels that I want to go over were really, really good. And I want you guys to start actually looking at some of these levels on a week to week basis. You guys can put these levels on your chart. It just takes a little bit of homework. But the weekly implied volatility moves. So the weekly implied expectations, the expected moves for the week, for the next trading day, and marking those out. So on Wednesday night, what I did is I went through and I looked at the expected moves for not only Thursday, but the contracts that end of week for Friday. So what I was looking at is a few levels. So all the levels that we have here in green were expected moves if we sold to the downside, meaning if we start pushing down and we come into these levels, because we are on a bullish trend, we want to look for some of those areas to snag, some of those areas that we can bounce. Okay. And on Thursday, you're going to see here in the overnight session, we kind of put in this little bit of a high towards the New York Open. We pulled back, and literally to a T on Thursday, New York session open, we tag this lower, I think it was one standard deviation move to the downside. So we tagged that Thursday expectation level to the downside. Now, when you start to think about that, could this have gone down farther? Sure. What you would need to see have happen was 29,125 get broken, see a bounce, see it get rejected, and then we would start looking towards that 29,000 even mark. Okay, that would be, the next level down in terms of the expected move, what they were pricing in. When we got that clear wick off the bottom, when we started to really bounce really aggressively, there was a couple of levels that were going to really define whether this market was going to be bullish to kind of finish out the week or we were going to be bearish. Okay. And that was looking at the 5 and 10 day moving average. So this green line here and this blue line here, that's your daily 5 and daily 10 simple moving average. If you guys are not going to put the expected moves on your chart, I would definitely recommend to have the daily 5 and the daily 10 on your charts. It'll show up on any time frame that you're trading. Doesn't have to be, you don't have to be looking at the daily time frame. You could be looking at the 1 minute time frame. Those levels will still be on your chart. The reason why it's so important to look at the daily 5 and the daily 10 is because for intraday trading, for most of you guys out there, I'm assuming are scalpers. You guys are day traders. You guys need to know the bias. Okay. Now, does that mean that the market is not going to sell off 100 points intraday? No, it doesn't. Does that mean you're never going to see a red tick intraday? No, it doesn't. But it gives you a blueprint of what you should be looking at. And if you're trading over, and not only trading over, but just freshly reclaimed, meaning we were trading below and now we have recovered this supply, we definitely want to be on the long side. So that kind of helps things in terms of bias. It kind of helps you, like, where should you be aligning yourself? And even on a lot of like the little sell-offs that we had intraday, market was really, really choppy to kind of end the week. You would see 50 point, 100 point down moves, 50 point, 100 point up moves, followed by the next candles, just completely a red engulfing candle, especially off the New York Open. But with that being said, it gives you opportunities where, okay, even though there's just been a 80 point red candle print, do I want to go jumping into that and just chase that blindly? Especially if we're over the 5 and 10 day moving average? Absolutely not. Especially if we came off of this expected move to the downside, this expected value area that, market makers had priced in. No, not really, right? So there was a lot of times on Thursday and Friday, even when the market seemed kind of choppy, where I was just waiting for those pullbacks. I'm waiting for the pullbacks. I'm trying to be a lot more patient. Again, this last week, definitely a little bit more harder to trade. We're getting a lot of chop. The range is wide on these candles. You can definitely hurt yourself if you're trading too large. I have to just continue to tell you guys, please, please, please size down. Okay, trade micros. Put your ego to the side. If you're trading mini contracts and you are getting lucky by having good entries and you're making money, please lock out. But if you want to do this long term and you want to remain consistent, you do not need to trade multiple mini contracts. You can trade a couple, just a handful of micros. It's going to lower the stress levels a lot. It's going to allow you to open up your targets a lot. So now instead of trying to just grab that quick 5 point profit, you can kind of sit in these trades a little bit longer with the momentum and try to grab, the 20, 30, 40 point moves. Sometimes you're going to get lucky on these candles. You're going to be in at the right time. You're going to be in at the right level. You're going to be in at the right rejection, short area, and or the best bounce area, and you're going to make those 50 point moves because you're not as stressed trying to micromanage that trade every time it goes up or down 2 or 3 points because you're trading size that's way too big. And trust me, I had multiple days this week where we did over $300 trading 1 and 2 micros. It's not a lot. It's not something to, write home about where you're going to, retire at the end of the week. You're not going to buy a Lamborghini tomorrow. But what it does is, making 200, making 300, having a good day, making 400, $500, trading a couple of micros, it really starts to add up. And especially if you have a 9 to 5, especially if you have multiple accounts, if you're on the prop firm side of things, um, making just a couple $100 a day across multiple accounts is really, really good. Now you're talking about 2, 4, 6 $100 a day, and you start timesing that times 3 to 4 days out of the week. You're making, 1,500, $2,000 a week, 2, 4, 6, 8. I mean, on pace for 80,000, on pace for $100,000 a year. Again, if you want more, sure, you can add more accounts. You can build a bigger personal account. You can trade more contracts. But again, with trading more contracts comes more risk. Obviously, the wins are bigger, but the losses are also bigger too. So always have to throw that in there as a disclaimer. But I think for a lot of people who are currently not making money, meaning you're not actively taking money out of the markets, okay? Whether it be through the prop firm side or the personal side. Maybe you got a payout, 6 months ago and you haven't seen any return on your investments for the past 4 or 5 months. Slow it down, bring it all the way back. Focus on 1 or 2 or 3 micro contracts, focus on $100 a day, try to do that consistently for a week. The main thing for you is not to get bored, because what happens when people are trading smaller size, they get very, very bored, they get impatient, they you know they get so impatient to where they reflect back on the times where they were trading multiple mini contracts and they're making $500 in seconds. And now it's like, you're making $100 in 10, 20 minutes or $100 in 2 minutes. It's, you're not able to wrap your head around it because you feel like it's moving too slow. I know some of you guys get trying to understand what I'm saying. Um, but it's going to be the best thing for you, especially if you plan on doing this for any length of time and you want to get better at trading, you want to become a better trader, and you want to actually start to be more consistent. Again, you got to remember, it's 90 something percent of traders never make money, right? Everyone knows that. There's multiple ways to make money in the trading industry. You're not going to make money every day. You're not going to make money every quarter. You're not going to make money every week. You might have a bad month where you're in drawdown 2, 3, 4,000, but you might have another quarter where, maybe next quarter you're up 10, 15,000, right? It's ebbs and flows of the market. It's ebbs and flows of your trading journey. Now, I understand that. I obviously want to make money every day, right? Just like all of you guys. But with that comes understanding that I don't want to try to make, $10,000 tomorrow, right? Because it's just not sustainable long term. Like, I can't sit here and say, yeah, I'm going to go out there and make $10,000 unless I'm trading, a $50 million account, right? A $10 million account. But putting those kind of unrealistic expectations inside of your brain, where maybe you do have that really good $1,000 day, $2,000 day, you start to get fixated on the number. Well, if I can do $1,000 a day and there's, 22 some odd trading days in the month, I can make $20,000, $30,000 a month. And you start to get these ideas painted in your head that are just false, right? So especially for people who are not actively taking payouts, or you're actively taking money out of your personal account, personal brokerage with trading, you've got to dial it all the way back. I would recommend something very clean, and try to focus on, can you make $100 a day and walk away? Can you put $150 daily risk budget on yourself to where, hey, if I lose $150, I walk away on the day. If I make over $100, I walk away on the day. And start to slowly scale that. Week one, you make $300-400. Great. That's good side cash. After 2 weeks, you're up $500-700. After a month, you're bringing in an extra 1,000, an extra $1,500 a month. That's really, really good. That can be compounded. Month two, you can trade one more contract. 6 months later, you can be trading another 2 contracts. Those numbers will gradually increase, but you got to understand what you're doing. So if we look at those levels, once we reclaim that daily 5 and daily 10, we really shot up. Now, this was the expected move here for the end of the week. 29,537 and 29,669. These were the 2 areas. Look at what we did today. Okay, look at what we did today. Off the open, we quickly flushed. We were flushing in the pre-market, flushing through that London session, going into New York. And then right before New York session opened, we had a big, massive candle here at 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay, we got back over that expected move, 29,537. And we had one last target. This was a 2 standard deviation move away from the mean. So when I pulled these levels on Wednesday night, I was looking at what were the expected moves to the top side, what are the expected moves to the downside for the remainder of the week. The levels down below were the expected moves to the downside. The levels to the top were the expected moves to the top side. And once we retested this area twice today, we got immediate buybacks, immediate reclaims of that 29,537. So once you get those immediate reclaims, we can go down into a 5-minute chart here, and I can show you what it actually looks like intraday. So you can see where exactly you would be looking for these reclaims, right? Where exactly you're looking to see those tests. So coming into the New York session, we were bouncing. We kind of pull back. We pull right back into VWAP. Off the open, we immediately flush VWAP. We immediately flush that move to the downside. Okay, that 29,537, that was our support, and immediately spike back up. When you see this immediate spike back up, either you can do one of 2 things. You can jump in on this candle using a stop loss just a touch below the wick, or you can wait for the pre-market highs going into New York session to get taken out. You can jump that Momo and ride that into that next expected move. Now, we tagged that expected move very, very early in the day and then sold all the way back down. Okay, this is where a lot of people get trapped, because this happens so fast off the open where you don't necessarily get in at the best price, which is down here, but you kind of get in a little bit later, and then it's moving so fast and the ranges are so big, you're getting stopped out because you're trading way too much size. Once we blow this top off here through that last like second standard deviation move, right? That 29,669. Once we blow that off, we come all the way back down again. So this is where a lot of people are going short. But the problem is that the bias for the end of the week was bullish. The bias is still bullish, whether it's the market's chopping or not. We're still not closing below previous day's lows. We're still not losing any levels of support. We're over the 5 and 10-day moving average. Yes, can you scalp short? Absolutely. But it's very, very hard, because as you're moving down, you're getting these pop backs, 15, 20 points. You're moving down again, you're getting a pop back, 15, 20, 30 points. It's very hard. Just look at the wicks here, right? These wicks here, 27 down. These wicks are spanning 20 to 40 points, right? So like you're getting big wicks. It's very, very hard to scalp unless you're just looking for that small take profit. Now, as we come down into this area, we spike below it, we close back above it. We try to make this bounce here and then come back down, sweep the lows. Now, where can you get back into price? Well, if this was just nothing more than a break and retest of this area here, 29,537, well, when we reclaim the VWAP, or reclaim a 20 simple moving average, or reclaim the level and we get a candle to close above it. In this case, for me, scalping, I use the 5 SMA and I have VWAP here. So there was 2 areas. As we pulled back into this level that held already one time, if price action is still going to remain bullish, I want to see one of 2 things. I want to see this level hold, but I also want to see my 5 SMA get reclaimed. I also want to see my VWAP get reclaimed. And in this case right here at around 7:25 and 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, not only do we have a nice pullback into support, a nice back test, we reclaim those moving averages, we reclaim that VWAP, and we start to push higher back again. Now we can target this level again, or you can put maybe the previous little swing high as a target, but this was a fantastic trade right in here at this spot, right in here at this spot. Because why? Not just because the candles are green and it's easy to see in hindsight. Of course it's easy to see in hindsight, but you need to look back in hindsight and you need to see, where did you make a mistake? Where did you sit on the sidelines and not trust the price action? Remember, technical analysis is not here to fool you. It's not here to trick you. You want to use technical analysis because it's the only way that you're going to be able to put levels on your chart to where you can use good risk. There's targets, there's stop losses. You need to trust technical analysis until the technical analysis fails. And when technical analysis fails, it doesn't mean that you go looking for a million different other strategies and levels. No, it just means that that trade idea did not work. You sit and wait for the next one. Be patient. I'm trying to tell everyone, force yourself to be patient. Watch an extra candlestick or 2. If you want to jump in right this second, wait. Take a deep breath. Let 2 or 3 more candlesticks print. Because even in this case, if you wanted to jump in right here once we got right back over this level and you didn't want to miss out, did you really miss out on anything if you came in 1, 2, 3 candlesticks later? No. This continued to push for another 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50 minutes. Okay, so almost an hour later, you could have sat out an extra candlestick, an extra 2, and actually seen the close over the 5 SMA. Watched it closed and reclaim back over VWAP, and then tell yourself, okay, great, this looks good. Initial spike, right? Trap those early longs. Bulls came all the way back. They let them come all the way back down here, and then bulls trapped here again. Just when everyone thought this was a big short position, bulls said, not today, buddy. We're going right back up to the top side here. Let's get this trap going. So again, is that what they said? I have no idea, but it sounds good. So with that being said, hope you guys start to use some of these expected value moves. Again, all you have to do is just go to the options chain, for whatever it is that you trade, whether you trade the QQQ, you trade equities, you trade the NQ. Go to the options chain, start looking at the expirations for the end of week, right? The end of week expected move, and it'll show you on there plus whatever points or plus whatever, right? I think for Thursday, there was an expected move of 230 points. So 230 points to the downside was this first level here, right? This is where I want to kind of show you guys. Let's go back to the 1 hour because that's going to be clear. So for when I pulled the numbers up on Thursday, there was on Wednesday night for Thursday, there was an expected move of like 237 points. And that 237 point move to the downside was down here. And where we were trading at here, right, in the overnight session when I was looking was close to those 29,400s. So the move to the top side, first one was 29,537. So I marked that out. And then the standard 2 standard deviations higher was 29,669. That was for Friday's expected move. So obviously, if they were pricing in an expected move here on Thursday, what did we do? We not only we tagged that, but we pulled right back after that. And what was the expected move going into Friday? Well, it was 29,669, or it was 29,000 even. Well, we were a long ways away from 29,000 even. So what was the next area for us to go up and try to at least test, right? It was already priced in. It was 29,669. So that's why you stay leaning into that bullish scenario, even when the market looks choppy, even when the market looks like it's selling off 1,000 points. It's really not. Just wait and be patient for those bigger levels. Hope you guys enjoy the video. If you guys want to join Evolution Traders and get access to some of this stuff a little bit more frequently and daily, again, come in, very tight-knit group. That link is down in the description box below. I will see all of you guys on the next video.